Peter Nogley, the sweeper, the key of the four defenders right there in midfield for the Edmonton Drillers in front of the quartet, as well as Purdy Alaya, will be a former Whitecap, Drew Ferguson, and up front the key forward will be number 16, Lorenz Hilkes. For the Vancouver Whitecaps, Bruce Grobelar looking for his sixth shutout. He has a .04 goals against average. The standard back four for the Vancouver Whitecaps as the kickoff has just occurred here. And the midfielders, Jerry Gray, Steve Kimber in the middle replacing Ball, but Paul Nelson is the addition in the lineup. Valentine, Weimark, and Johnston up front. And the opening kickoff has just occurred. The officials for today's game, the referee is number 29 in the middle, Tony Evangelista of Toronto. The linesmen are number 106, John Ott from Portland, and number 108, Mario Perino from Winnipeg, Manitoba, the officiating staff for today's game. And I have seen some unusual things in the world of sport, but I have never heard a cheerleader by proxy get this crowd going of about 10 to 12,000 the way Crazy George did. Crazy George was going to be here, but he did not want to have his allegiance questioned, and as much as he's a BC Lions cheerleader, Crazy George was on the PA system on tape getting these fans going, Jeff, and I've heard a lot of things before, but never a cheerleader by proxy getting them going like that.
I've never heard anything quite like that. It seemed to work. He asked everybody to raise their white placards, and roughly 10,000 people did just that. So there must be something in that magic.
Well, it was a wild finish to the game last week in Vancouver. We'll see if it's going to pick up where it left off. At this point, we have the Drillers attacking on the far side of the field. Our broadcast location on the west side of Commonwealth Stadium, just inside midfield at the same side you're looking at right now. We are also sitting directly across from what looks like a couple of hundred Whitecap supporters in the middle of the lower deck on the far side of this beautiful Commonwealth Stadium. And it is a goal kick right off the bat for the Vancouver Whitecaps as number 10, Drew Ferguson, the pride of Powell River, BC, and former Whitecap, drops the ball for Bruce Grobelar.
I think the biggest surprise in the Whitecaps lineup so far is that Tony Waiters has decided to bring Trevor Weimark back as a starting striker in place of Ray Hankin, who played such a good game against the Drillers on Wednesday. Probably the best game that Hankin has played, but Waiters, I guess, is going with the man who has performed more than adequately throughout the rest of the season so far, and is the leading scorer on the team.
Well, the choice was made late this morning, and the reason for the decision, he had to opt between a man. As we look here at Klaus Heinlein, one-on-one. He gets by the defender, across into the box. The header, just wide. They're calling for a handball. At least Hank Tincata is. Hank Tincata, a fine cross by Klaus Heinlein as he beat all the defenders.
Ball went right over to the far post. You see the cross in the second. And the header that comes up in the second was deflected. Here comes the header. Deflected off somebody's back. They were claiming for a handball that hit somebody in the back there. It looked like Roger Kenyon.
Well, Mike Sweeney, his corner is headed away by the Whitecaps. And another cross into the box for Bruce Grobelar there. He has tested a foul is called.
Called on Hilkes for backing into Grobelar there.
He's not the biggest man on the pitch, but he's the most volatile in terms of being able to put the ball in the net and not prone to getting fouls against the much bigger defenders. Willie Johnston down the right side. Dwight Lodovagius controlling. Played much of his youth soccer and his amateur soccer before he turned pro in Holland, despite the fact he was born in Turner Valley, Alberta, thus is called a non-import. And what an addition to a roster, to any roster, to have somebody with that kind of European upbringing and yet to be still classified as a Canadian, as Drew Ferguson comes down. Watched by Jerry Gray here on the left sideline. His crouch into the box, booted away by John Craven. Midfield play now as the Drillers control. Lodovagius. Switch on the far side to Mike Sweeney. Simon Fraser University graduate. Hank Tincata. Lodovagius once again. Very methodical back four play. Very similar to the Whitecaps. You probably noticed it Wednesday in Vancouver as well. Methodically trying to weave it up forward as Peter Nogley there from a sweeping position comes up, and he can't sustain the attack either. The Whitecaps marking very closely as well.
Peter Nogley is a very similar player to Rudy Kroll, who will be rejoining the Whitecaps for the Cosmos game on June 29. A sweeper, but likes to move up the middle.
And this is Mike Sweeney down the far sideline, too far. Be a throw-in for the Whitecaps.
There's Timo Likowski, coach of the year last year in the NASL, on the phone to somebody up here, I gather, John.
A very affable
very
young
personable
man.
young man.
Formerly coached with Dallas as an assistant. Took over the Houston Hurricane for 2 years, where, as you mentioned, last year was the coach of the year, and subsequently this year came with Peter Pocklington and the Edmonton Drillers. As the Whitecaps now for the second time get deep into Drillers territory, but it's a throw-in for Edmonton. Concluding your thoughts about Hankin and Weimark, why one started rather than the other. Coach Tony Waiter said he had to make a choice between a man who had a very good match for once this season and a man who's been sustaining good play all year long in Weimark. And consequently, he obviously opted for the man who's been on a hotter streak, despite the fact he's just overcoming an ankle injury. I'm surprised in that I thought he might want to keep the confidence of Ray Hankin going, but such is the case of a coach having to make such a decision. He was happy it had to be a positive decision. As Klaus Heinlein comes down the far side, Paul Nelson thwarts his attack in the cross in the box behind line, knocked away by Jerry Gray. Bruce Grobelar picks it up and waits for his troops to regroup.
The Vancouver coach, Tony Waiters, sitting alongside physiotherapist trainer George Wright. Waiters, of course, hasn't lost a game since he took over the coaching reins for the second time from Bob McNabb. Won 3 straight, hoping for 4 today.
Andrew Ferguson just about got away from Jerry Gray at that point, but it is throw in Vancouver. As we saw midfield play there between Lawrence Hilkus, number 16, and Peter Nogley, number 7, the 2 key players of the Drillers' attack, but they couldn't complete the play to Drew Ferguson. This is Ferguson once again at midfield, dropping it back to Nogley, who is all over the pitch from side to side and will quite often go up to attack, as he is doing right now. Peter Nogley at the 35, chipping it on the far side there. Andre Ostrom. He is fouled there. The linesman calls the foul. And referee Tony Evangelista agrees. It's going to be probably a verbal caution. Yes, there is, to Willie Johnston.
I don't think there was really too much of a foul in that one. It looked like a little bit of a dive. Nevertheless, he was obstructed. Here we go. Yeah, he ran into his check and fell over. About a 4.7, I think, John.
And yet he warned Willie Johnston, despite the fact the foul is on Paul Nelson, to cross into the box, and it's headed over the goal line. It is a goal kick for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and we'll be back right after this break. It's in the first half, a scoreless tie. The Whitecaps and Drillers live from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Bruce Grobelar retrieves the ball after a goal kick, which amounted to no consequence whatsoever. Just play at midfield and then back to him subsequently. And here we are now with Grobelar's punt down to the far 35-yard line. Weimark on the run with Nogi there, and Valentine. Valentine gets to it. He has Weimark 2-on-1. Weimark knocks the ball down. He gets the shot. He hits the crossbar. He scores! A beautiful play by Carl Valentine to set up Trevor Weimark with an equally fine play to both control the ball and beat keeper Ferdy Alaya.
And this is the way it happened. Valentine did all the work, right down almost to the goal line, maybe 5 yards in, a left foot cross. Weimark sees it coming. There's a man in front of him, so he kind of does a half turn, brings it down with his chest, hits it well in from 7 yards into the roof of the net on the short corner past Alea. Good goal by Weimark, but all the work by Valentine.
Weimark's team-leading 7th goal of the year, and once again the Whitecaps strike early. They struck in the 20th minute last week. This goal will come somewhere in the vicinity of the 10th minute. We will get the official time and scoring play for you later, but definitely Trevor Weimark has his first goal of this match and 7th of the season for a 1-0 Vancouver lead. And now in a come-from-behind situation once again are the Edmonton Drillers. Fine tackle on the far side there. No foul called on Bob Lenarduzzi. Hank Tincata questioning the non-call by the referee.
First goal, scored by number 9.
An elbow there on John Craven by Hank Tincata, who was trying to give it back. Klaus Heinlein's cross into the box. Cannot be controlled there, and Bruce Grobelar finally gets it before Eddie Kirshner can sustain the attack and complete the play for Edmonton. The official scoring play, Jeff? Well, we have about the 43rd carbon of this.
I think we have. But it's certainly Weimark from Valentine at 8:39.
8:39 is the official scoring time of Weimark's 7th goal of the year.
And there hasn't been a bigger assist this year than that one to Valentine, who did, as we mentioned, all the work on that one. It's like a corner kick coming up here now on the right side.
Not only was Valentine's mobility a factor in that, but he also beat Peter Nogi to the ball, who was caught off balance.
Jerry Gray taking the corner kick for Vancouver.
With the absence of Alan Ball, Jerry Gray Here's Carl Valentine and Bob Lenarduzzi at the near post. Valentine now comes out as if it's a short corner, but it is not. It goes up. Roger Kenyon cannot get to it. It is knocked away, and Weimar controls. Weimar cannot be checked there by Hilkison. He knocks it over the goal line for a goal kick for the Edmonton Drillers. The score is 1-0 for the Vancouver Whitecaps. We have 34 minutes left in the first half.
Fresh air fireplaces.
Back to Commonwealth Stadium, I'm John McKeechee along with Jeff Cross.
And I guess you could say that right away, Tony Waiter's selection was justified, John.
Well, he said there would be second guessing if it went one way or the other, and so far it's gone the one way as far as he is concerned. And from our sideline camera, we look at midfielder Steve Kember, who is playing a position to which he's more used to, that being midfield. That's where he played at Crystal Palace, and of course with the absence of Alan Ball today, he will be the field general there with a pair of young Canadians, Paul Nelson and Jerry Gray alongside him. Bob Lenarduzzi being marked by Hank Tincata. Valentine and Weimar cannot control. Tincata and Mike Sweeney clears it. Sweeney to Tincata. Tincata now on the run. Tincata with Hilkes here on his left. Broken up there by Roger Kenyon.
Calling it a handball, I believe. A lot of Edmonton arms went up as if to say it was a handball, and Roger Kenyon doesn't seem to be arguing too much. Kenyon, number 6, blocked the ball with his hand. Now this could be dangerous. A direct free kick just outside the penalty area, maybe 2 yards outside. Whitecaps defense will set up a wall. Got to be 10 yards back, of course.
Well, 2 yards further ahead, it would have been a penalty kick, of course. They were just that close to the penalty area. So this is the lesser of two evils as far as the Whitecaps are concerned. Nogley is there. Drew Ferguson, number 10, standing beside the ball. And on the near side is number 9, Eddie Kirshner. There's the wall set up with... A kick there is taken by Kirshner. It goes over the goal line. It was wide. It went wide of the wall. He at least beat that much.
Fairly well wide of the wall. Seemed to hit that with the outside of his left foot, which is rather surprising.
I'm not sure he might have
There
just
goes
kicked
the shot again.
Kirshner's
Yeah,
shot.
certainly with the outside of the left foot, and I can't quite see that. It would have to be an in-swinging kick to get round the wall and into the goal. The way he was kicking it with the outside of his left foot, it certainly had to curl wide.
Well, Bruce Roqueville are facing into the sun now. As what sun there is more of a glare now with the overcast conditions. It's not out yet. We don't have the bright shadows as yet, but hopefully it'll keep on clearing here on a somewhat warm and muggy day in Edmonton, Alberta. At midfield there, close hindline. Knocks it to Drew Ferguson. He does a good job of keeping it from going into touch. And Peter Nogley. Nogley to Hilkes. Lorenz Hilkes from a striking position far back. Sweeney knocks it ahead to Kirshner. Kirshner cannot get by the Whitecaps defense.
Paul Nelson, good tackle.
Defensive prowess is one of his long suits. And
There's a foul, should be.
The cat has finally whistled as he and Lenarduzzi have had some early goes here in the...
And that should be a yellow card. I don't know whether it's going to be, but Tenkata certainly kicked the ball away in disgust, and that, according to my rules, according to FIFA rules, is a yellow card. Not going to get one. There's the pushing going on. Tenkata. Referee called that a foul. Tenkata kicked the ball away and got away with it, outside of a verbal warning.
Young man on loan from a team in Holland by the name of the Go Ahead Eagles.
Johnson.
Willie Johnston in the midfield now, where I think he's been as effective as he has when he's been going down the wing of late. And that boot far over the crossbar by Jerry Gray. And way into touch now as we have a goal kick for the Edmonton Drillers with just less than 30 minutes left in this first half. Back to John Craven, who boots it in a return fashion to Gray, but it's headed into touch. Throw in Whitecaps as it went off the head of former Whitecap Drew Ferguson. He has really apparently come into his own here with this side, Jeff.
I think there's going to be a free kick. Actually, I thought they were just looking at the linesman. He just signaled for a throw-in, but the referee put his hand down as if to indicate it was a free kick.
Kimber took it and put it right out the hip of Buzz Parsons. This turf, by the way, not only is a natural turf, but as we were walking down to the pitch a couple of hours ago, it was somewhat slick, but it's also very, very thick. And I guess that's in deference to the CFL Edmonton Eskimos who've chewed up midfield at this point. Just to the right of where Peter Nogley is now controlling the ball. But it's very, very thick turf. You almost lose the player's boots in the thickness of the turf. But I'm sure they prefer it to the artificial surface, which can play havoc with knees and ankles, etc.
Foul against Kenyon.
There on Roger Kenyon.
On the Hilkes.
Eddie Kirshner.
Oh, pardon me, on Kirshner.
I have rarely heard a coach question the heart of his own player, but such has been the case when Leokowski was questioning Eddie Kirshner wanting to get into the action a bit more. He's 6'2", 187, by far one of the bigger players on the pitch. But he wants him to get into the action a little bit more between the big Whitecap defenders of John Craven and Roger Kenyon. And Kenyon and Kirshner met just then. Is on the turn, close highline with a vicious shot. That Bruce Grobelar, by far the best save of the day. Klaus Heinlein made a fine pivot and rifled that shot. That certainly was destined for the net if Grobelar didn't get his hand on it.
Great save by Grobelar. You'll see this play here. Cut into the middle, and the shot, a fierce shot, going in all the way. Grobelar gets up, tips it over the bar for a corner kick. Great save by Grobelar.
And now the Edmonton Drillers set up for their second corner kick of the day. Mike Sweeney wants again to take it. He knocks it to the near post. Ferguson flicks it on. Grobelar gets a hand on it. And it was Kirshner who hit it into the net. The Edmonton Drillers are on the board. They have tied this match in a fine corner kick play. Mike Sweeney to Drew Ferguson and Eddie Kirshner.
And it's a play that the Whitecaps used an awful lot last year, the little flick on. Grobelar did his best. He got a hand to it twice. Here you'll see the flip-on header coming there to Kirshner. Grobelar had it, let it go into the net, and it's 1-1.
That's the first goal that's been scored on Bruce Grobelar in something like 300 minutes. He had 253 minutes of shutout soccer prior to this match. And we're approximately 18 minutes into this one. So about 271 minutes or so before Eddie Kirshner finally beat him to tie this match at 1-0. And once again, the Whitecaps play quickly. Carl Valentine.
And how about that?
Very quickly.
There's a lot of argument going on this near side.
Well,
there's a fight for the header, and I think that's what Edmonton are complaining about. Maybe that Valentine was offside here. Had two cracks at it. Missed the first one. Got the second one underneath the goalkeeper.
Here is Valentine, miskicking the first time. He freezes Nobley at that point, but he finally gets the right boot on it. Nobley got a piece of it, or Elia got a piece of it, and he finally put it in the net to give the Caps a 2-1 lead.
And Edmonton is still arguing with the linesman on this side.
Liakoski was just furious, but there's the avid Whitecap supporters on the far side of the pitch. They're ecstatic about it. And there's Liakoski. He was just furious.
I think they were claiming Valentine was offside on that.
On the return attack, Kirshner is taken down.
There'll be a yellow here. That's going to go to John Craven.
And he gives him the finger at the back of the shirt. Make sure you get my number right, as Kirshner looks like he's in jeopardy right here. We'll have a look at that foul as he was taken down very heavily. The man who scored the goal.
John Craven put the foot right over the ball, trying to get the ball away, and Kirshner went right over the leg, tripped over, and Craven gets a yellow card.
Well, we have trainer Kip Pitch on the field attending to Eddie Kirshner as John Craven, number 2, distraught with a call and somewhat upset, I think, probably about the corner kick goal that Kirshner scored just moments ago. Referee Tony Evangelista now attending to the situation. Kirshner is up, and he's around. He'll get a little bit of a hand here from his hometown fans of the Edmonton Drillers. But 2 goals very quickly have broken this game open, at least in terms of might be indication of what's going to happen. Ball headed away there from that subsequent free kick, and the Drillers control now at midfield. Drew Ferguson. Mike Sweeney on the far side on the switch for the Edmonton Drillers. Kirshner back to Sweeney, trying to get it to Hilkes. He can't control, knocked away. The Whitecaps controlling, and just booted downfield by Bob Lenarduzzi, trying to get the pressure off. On the run is Willie Johnston. Beating him to it is John Webb. Now Peter Nobley comes back, methodically looking for a teammate at midfield. He's watched by Valentine. We've beaten him twice today. Klaus Heinlein, Johnston, and John Webb controlling once again. Webb pressed forward, marked there closely by Willie Johnston and Loda Vegas. White Loda Vegas on this near side to Mike Sweeney. Sweeney somewhat overlapping now. Coming up, has Hilkes there, but Kirshner makes the run and knocked into touch by John Craven over the Whitecaps bench.
2 goals, John. Edmonton, it was Kirshner from Ferguson and Sweeney. A couple of Vancouverites getting assists at 17:33. And Valentine unassisted at 18:41. That's just over a minute later to make it 2-1 for Vancouver. And the protest, I do believe, was for offside because they were really protesting very hard to the linesman on this side. There's a push, and it was seen.
Ball called there, and the Whitecaps will get a free kick in there deep in their own territory. For Carl Valentine, by the way, that's his second goal of the year. He's the second leading scorer in terms of points for the Whitecaps. That will now give him 9. Trevor Weimark with his goal has 15 points on the year. For Eddie Kirshner, that's his 4th goal of the year, and he is the second leading scorer. Now the leading scorer for the Drillers. He surpasses Dwight Lodovegas. Kirshner now with 13 points from 4 goals and 5 assists.
I don't think we've seen 3 goals quite as fast as this in any game we've done this season, John.
Well, for the last few matches, you haven't seen 3 goals, period, by either team in the Whitecaps have played. They have had a drought playing goals, and offside is called there. Completing the play is Kirshner, and he wants more than the 1 goal. He wants to get the Drillers back in an even keel with Edmonton, or with Vancouver. They're currently tied 1-1.
Derisory wave at the linesman who called him offside about 25 yards out, and he looked like he did have a step on the Vancouver defense.
Mario Perino made that call on the far side. Well, those goals came 1 minute and 8 seconds apart. And, of course, as you well know, you can go 90 to 180 minutes before you see 2 goals. Never mind 1 minute and 8 seconds.
Ball's out.
Into touch there as Dwight Lodovegas and Trevor Weimark battle for it, but off Lodovegas, and Jerry Gray will take the throw in. Carl Valentine. Sweeney right on his back. On the turn now, here's Steve Kember. Steve Kember coming up. Still controlling as Jerry Gray right beside him. Knocking Gray on the run here. Is it too far? No, Gray does get to it. He can control it. He can get the turn. He beats his man. He beat Drew Ferguson. Now Gray knocked it into the box. But Pretty Alaya there with no problem to control that cross.
A little bit too close there. Jerry Gray was played a left foot in swinger, swinging in towards the goalkeeper, just about a yard off the line. No problem for a layer on that one.
I think he could have taken more time. He certainly had the space because Ferguson lost his footing.
He certainly could have. He could have gone in another 10 yards quite easily.
On the return attack, Hill goes now to Peter Nogley. Nogley, as you mentioned, the Rudy Kroll of this side, the quarterback.
He's the general.
And Trevor Weimark just boots the ball into the stands, much the same as about 8 or 10 of the Drillers did before the game, as a local sporting goods store gave the fans here some souvenir balls, and after the opening ceremonies, the Drillers just booted them into the stands at random, and very rabid fans here, and the crowds are slowly building here in Edmonton, much the same as they did over the past 3 and 4 years of the Vancouver Whitecaps. On the run, Drew Ferguson has it knocked into touch.
Former Whitecap, of course. Drew Ferguson came over to Edmonton last season. A regular starter now for the Drillers.
John Craven's been out in that area quite frequently today. Committed his second foul right there. This is Nogley. Nogley beats his man. Nogley going right in on goal. He has Kirshner. Kirshner's in behind. Kirshner shot. Grobelar with another save. And Kirshner rifled that one with his left foot this time, and he did get the in swing, and Grobelar had to make a fine save. Perhaps not of the value that he had when he took one off a close hind line, but certainly Eddie Kirshner tested him, and the 3rd corner kick for the Drillers. The first from this side. This time will be taken by close hind line.
The last corner kick they had produced a goal, of course. See if they play the same one, the little flip on the header. Yes, it is.
They take it, and Weimark knocks it away.
It's a play that the Whitecaps used a lot last year. Short corner, or comparatively short corner to the near post, a little flick header by the man on the near post to another player running in. Worked very well for the first goal.
2 years ago, you would have thought that Alan Hinton invented that play.
Indeed.
Meanwhile, Drew Ferguson's throw-in is taken away by the Whitecaps, and on the run there are 2 Whitecaps. This is Willie Johnston knocked down by Nogley. There's a little Hollywood on it and goes to his knees. He had Valentine in the middle, but Valentine was closely marked as well, so he was trying to make the run down this near sideline. So Steve Kember is set to take control. He knocks it up into space for the mobile Carl Valentine. Valentine knocks it back up to Willie Johnston. Johnston's kick goes nowhere except over the goal line, and it's a goal kick for the Edmonton Drillers. It's a 2-1 soccer game with just under 20 minutes left in the first half at Commonwealth Stadium.
News.
0 Vancouver win, in which Steve Kember's second goal of the year in the 20th minute was the only goal of the match.
One thing about early goals, of course, John, it means that the players have to put out and go forward a lot more than they would normally if it was a goalless tie. Might be quite content to sit back and play defensively, wait for the break. With early goals like this, they have to play it wide open.
Well, he looks like he's enjoying himself. The dual boss of the Vancouver Whitecaps, Tony Waiters, returned to this job just 4 games ago, this being the 4th. He has not lost since taking over the coaching reins from Bob McNabb. Bob McNabb yet to make a decision on what his future will be, whether he's going to take the offer of the Whitecaps to stay in the organization or return home.
This will be a corner kick.
Over the byline as the Whitecaps get their second chance for a corner kick, and meandering over to get it will be Willie Johnston along with Jerry Gray.
18 minutes left in the first half.
At the near post, Valentine and Weimart. Gray set to take it. Mike Sweeney is 13, John Webb 15, marking him. Gray takes the corner kick now, and it's whistled already.
Somebody must have been pushing, I imagine. Or was that a whistle or not? He waved play on.
I heard a whistle, but there was no play stoppage, of course, as Elia got the ball out into Lawrence Hilkus. Lawrence Hilkus now with Nogley. Nogley controlling. He has 4 Whitecaps all around him to John Webb overlapping from fullback.
Wasted opportunity there for the Drillers. They had a good chance. 3-on-1 almost.
Willie Johnston doing a dual job there, both marking his man and giving him some verbal warning of what's going to happen next time he comes that close to him. The ever colorful, ever effervescent Mr. Willie Johnston as Steve Kember at midfield controls for the Whitecaps. Knocked there down.
That's a foul.
By Lorenz Hilkus.
For a foul on Steve Kember.
Well, if there was any intent, there's good sportsmanship prevailing here as Hilkus has a word with Tony Evangelista.
Just don't do it again is what he's saying, I imagine.
Whether it's a Hilkus con job to get Evangelista off his back the next time he does it.
Could well
Hard
be.
to say. We'll find out.
That's a bad free kick.
John Webb. Drillers coming forward in numbers more than they have in terms of their history. They've been having trouble putting the ball in the net. They have a roller coaster type of attack. They'll go 3 and 4 and 5 games without one, then get 5 goals a game, and they have a devil of a time scoring on the road. I will say this though, they are certainly more successful at home than on the road. They are 6 and 3 at home. They are 1 and 5 on the road, and pending a 3-game road trip, which will take them to Fort Lauderdale, Minnesota, and Los Angeles. So they desperately want this home victory, where they've had 6 of their 7 wins this season. They currently have a 7 and 8 record. The Caps 8 and 8.
And Edmonton does have a good chance, of course, to win the American Conference West Division. They're about 20 points behind out of first place at the moment, but they have 2 games in hand over the California Surf. And they could very easily. I think looking at them the way they're playing today, they're certainly as good a team as the California Surf. No reason at all why they shouldn't win that division.
California's at home today against Phil Parks and the Chicago Sting, and they have a 25-point lead on Edmonton, but as you mentioned, they have played 2 more games than has Timo Lakoski's side. And nobody once again has literally been all over the field. Up, back, side, inside, outside. And he plays now ahead to Dwight Lodovegas. Lodovegas. Marked there by Trevor Weimark. Through to Drew Ferguson. A fine play there defensively by Jerry Gray, as Drew Ferguson from midfield was on a break toward the net.
Ferguson pushing up quite a lot now against his former teammates. He's listed as a left side midfielder, but he's actually moving up quite a lot onto the left wing.
We're at 15 minutes remaining in this first half in a 2-1 game. The Vancouver Whitecaps lead the Edmonton Drillers as Hank Tenkata. Tenkata is knocked down there. No, it's ruled a fine check there by John Craven, who comes on the return attack. Paul Nelson waiting for support. He gets it with Trevor Weimark. He has Jerry Gray on this side, and an errant kick there by Trevor Weimark. He didn't get good wood on it, if you'll pardon the expression. And Hank Tenkata was knocked down. It was not a vicious tackle. They both hit the ball, and that can be just like, I don't know, hitting the side of a wall with a baseball bat when your hands ring, except this time it's your foot and your ankle and your whole leg right up through the thigh. Probably into the neck if he got hit that squarely.
Tenkata is limping a little. Vancouver bench.
And the varying moods of the Vancouver Whitecap bench. Tony Waiter surveying his charges. Edmonton now coming on the attack. And they have had more of the play in terms of being in the Whitecaps zone than in the other end. And a fine play by Valentine to assist Weimark's goal, and a fine solo effort by Valentine have given the Whitecaps a 2-1 lead here. As Edmonton comes in once again with Kirshner having it kicked away by Lenarduzzi. Kleinheim cannot control. The Whitecaps do.
Whitecaps defense doing a lot of last-minute saving tackles. And here goes Valentine all on his own down the left wing. All by himself.
One-on-one with Mike Sweeney. Nobody supporting. He gets the ball in the box with Weimark here in the far side. Weimark with nobody around him. Now Lodovegas comes out into Steve Kember. And that seemed to be a very sparse attack. There was only Carl Valentine to start it. Weimark finally offered support as a fellow striker. And then Steve Kember offered support, but it was very sparse, the support he got, Jeff.
Well, Valentine has been playing up front all by himself. He stationed himself on the 35-yard line, just drawing one defender, but the rest of the Whitecaps team are all pulling back, including Weimark, who is normally the front runner. But Valentine that time had to wait for Weimark to come up and join him, but he did find him.
Nelson.
Corner kick.
And another corner kick attempt for the Whitecaps as Paul Nelson's kick was off the boot of Andre Ustrom. You'd certainly think that the Whitecaps, who have only had one 9-point victory this year, would be looking...
Offside called against Vancouver.
All right. They have changed the call. It's been called offside Edmonton. Consequently, the goal kick or free kick, and Alaya takes it and gives it up front to his attackers. But to complete that thought, the Whitecaps have only had the one 9-point victory. Certainly, they can't be wanting to sit on a 2-1 lead.
Over to Heinlein.
At worst, they'd want to get 3 goals. And from Edmonton's standpoint, of course, they want to get all the points they can to overcome that deficit to California Surf. Vancouver, of course, in a less enviable position of having to catch both L.A. and, of course, Alan Hinton's Seattle Sounders, who won their 16th game of the year last night, a 5-0 game. Can you believe that?
Raven.
Really flying.
Now, Trevor Weimark now at midfield.
Good ball.
And Valentine.
Valentine.
He has Buzz Parsons from a defending position way up in the middle in front of him. Valentine still one-on-one with Mike Sweeney with Nobley. Buzz Parsons gets behind Nobley, gets the kick away. And Alaya makes the save as Buzz Parsons came up from his position to knock that kick into the hands of Alaya. And it's still 2-1 Vancouver. Far by Bruce Robillard and Klaus Heinlein's corner kick was subsequently headed into touch. He will now take the throw in. Hank Tincata. Tincata getting away from his man, Willie Johnston.
Nobley.
On the far side to Peter Nogley. Nogley with John Webb overlapping on his right. Up to Webb. Webb looking to cross in into the box there. Grobillard will go up for it with Tincata. And Grobillard comes down with it in a foul call by Tony Evangelista on Hank Tincata, who will have a verbal discussion.
Bruce Grobillard has a little grin there.
Verbal discussions, of course, are the best kind to have. What other kind can you have? I'm going to write it down out there. Bruce Grobillard now controlling on the switch from the far side to Bob Lenarduzzi.
Grobillard's a very brave goalkeeper in terms of raw courage in a goal. It takes a lot of courage to go up and to feel that ball high up in the air when you know that there's a couple of guys barreling in on you.
Well, the forgotten man in this roster of late would seem to be David Harvey, and when he came over from Britain, of course, as the chase is on now between Carl Valentine and Ferdy Alaya. Alaya wins it and gives it to Nobley. But David Harvey said the guts is the easy part. It's the thinking and the strategy as a keeper that makes you world-class or not. And certainly Bruce Grobillard is developing as fast as any keeper possibly could. Fine season in True Alexandra.
Nobley.
Peter Nogley now to Mike Sweeney as we have 10 minutes left in this first half. Carl Valentine has that pass intercepted. Valentine now with Weimark. Kimber offering support. Kimber now has Bob Lenarduzzi overlapping, but he is checked there, and Peter Nogley takes it away from him.
Good check.
Lorenz Hilkus with Craven. He beats him. Drew Ferguson. Ferguson gets a cross in. It goes off of Buzz Parsons over the goal line. It'll be another corner kick for the Edmonton Drillers. They've had 2 or 3 more than the Whitecaps. They've been attacking far more as Kirshner tries to grab the ball away from Grobillard. As Klaus Heinlein right there will go to take the corner.
That would have actually been better from the Whitecaps' point of view if that hadn't been deflected, because there was only one man in the goal area and he was being closely marked.
Ferguson and Ustrom a near post. Kick goes up. Grobillard does a fine job of punching it away, getting over 3 or 4 players, a few of his own. Nogley with Ferguson behind him. He chooses to go inside. He's calling for a handball. He didn't get it. It went off the chest of Buzz Parsons. And Steve Kimber comes out with Jerry Gray.
And a handball, of course, has to be intentional. That certainly wasn't intentional. Foul called on Loda Vegas.
Now we've got Tony Waiters off the bench questioning the call. Except it's going in Vancouver's favor. And now Nogley questioning referee Tony Evangelista.
I'm not quite sure what Tony would be wanting there, unless he just wanted that foul, which he got.
He doesn't get off the bench that often, and usually when it is, it's usually to question an official as opposed to shouting instructions, although he's been known to do both from time to time. Throwing deep in their own zone for the Drillers, and Timo Lukoski. He's been off the bench twice now, not the least of which was the last time when he was questioning the Valentine goal, and he was just furious about that one.
Yeah.
Right, Loda Vegas.
Coach is taking it in turns to berate the referee. Referees have no friends.
Or Heinlein.
Klaus Heinlein now. One-on-one situation with Paul Nelson. Gives it up to Peter Nogley. Nogley now on the right side. Loda Vegas. Pushing forward. Has Parsons come up to meet him.
Parsons is being very adventurous, moving up from right fullback, right up in the other end of the field.
Sidelines cross into the box with Kirshner going up with Grobelar. Tincata there to try and get the rebound, but an elbow is called, and Roger Kenyon there cautioning Eddie Kirshner. Grobelar says it's all right. They shake hands, but Kenyon's the one that's the master of that domain.
And here we go. This is what there was an elbow, certainly, underneath Grobelar's chin. Grobelar said it was all right, but that's what you get for a goalkeeper can expect.
Overlapping Bob Lenarduzzi now. Knocked it into space, but it's right there in the hands of Purdy Alaya. I'm not sure if Lenarduzzi knew what he wanted to do with that kick.
It's about a half and a half thing. That's half a shot and half a cross.
Well, when you're 50-50 in your own mind, it's not going to result in usually more than that if you go 100% one way or the other. In other words, if you say, I'm going to try for the shot, and you miss, well, you miss. If you don't try it, well, at least you still gain possession. And John Craven once again is caution as Lorenz Hilkes is down, and he's riding.
There really didn't seem an awful lot wrong with that. He certainly played the ball, and if we get a chance to have a look at that again.
There's your standard rhubarb toe-to-toe, and both coaches are off the bench once again. And this is how Lorenz Hilkes hit the deck.
And certainly, oh, the left foot came in. The left foot came in over the shin after the right foot had played the ball. Was a foul.
Well, there was no effort in Craven's part to pull it back. He just followed through with it. Consequently, Hilkes is down. And trainer Kip Petch is at it again. Now he's left him there, whether he's either okay or whatever. Play resumes as Drew Ferguson's free kick goes in midfield now to Mike Sweeney. Sweeney in the far side. Get it in there to Kirshner. Kirshner and Kenyon battling for it. Goes over the line and only get a corner kick. Grobelar had a chance. I think he felt it was going to be a goal kick. But the Drillers with yet another corner kick attempt.
See if they play the same one again. There's Drew Ferguson, number 10, wandering over to the near post. Hilkes is over there to the near post. Mike Sweeney comes all the way over from left fullback.
Ooster was in there too. Mike Sweeney is the one to take it with Kimber marking him.
Yep, there goes Ferguson.
Near post corner there.
Make it.
Couldn't get it onto the head of Ferguson, but the boot there hit the crossbar. Klaus Heinlein hit the crossbar. And Peter Nobley on the return attack. That surprised everybody, including Bruce Grobelar, who had no idea that shot was coming, much less that quickly. And it just whistled off the crossbar. They were inches away from tying this match with just less than 6 minutes to play in this first half. Grobelar has no trouble with that cross. And by far the finest scoring attempt that didn't go in the net. But Klaus Heinlein, did he ever rifle that shot, Jeff? And it came off what was a thwarted corner kick attempt at that point. But here is the...
Another look at it. You see the ball. That's the corner kick that started the play. The ball came out to Heinlein. Bang.
On the full volley, and he just rifles it off the crossbar.
About 20 yards out.
Oh, what a hard shot. And Hilkes was right there for the rebound, but the shot was so hard it even went by him, and he was standing 5 yards away at least anyway. Well, Drew Ferguson knocked it back to Nogley once again, and they'll press forward once again. I've not yet seen the Drillers attack like this in the 2 years they've been in the league. They have, of course, the former Oakland Stompers franchise, and Hank Tincata gets a chance. He gets a shot away.
Weakish.
But he rushed it a little bit, and Bruce Grobelar had no problem with that.
Has been called back, incidentally. The linesman on the far side called an offside, so Tincata must have been offside when he first got the ball before he essayed that shot. Substitution being made here down on this near sideline.
Number 17 is Jan Goossens. At forward. Is it Tincata coming out? Yes, it is Hank Tincata, who had a collision with Bruce Grobelar and with John Craven earlier in the match. But Goossens is coming in as Timo Lukoski makes an early substitution, at least early by, as we've come to know, there's not usually first half subs unless there is an injury, and such is the case now. We have 4:51 remaining in this first half.
Right, you wouldn't normally make a substitution at this stage unless the guy was really struggling, and Tincata obviously was. Goossens is a 21-year-old, another Dutch player. Played for Nijmegen in the Dutch Honor League, as they call it.
Dutch, German, and Canadian influence, of course, on this side.
The Dutch influence is mainly from last year's coach here in Edmonton, Hans Kraai, no longer with them.
This franchise, by the way, formerly the Oakland Stompers, and prior to that, they were the Hartford and Connecticut Bicentennials, so they have moved around a little bit. Whitecaps have played this franchise a total of 8 times, but this is only their 4th as Edmonton. 6-2 overall versus the franchise. As Willie Johnston comes into the middle here, leaves it for Lenarduzzi. He gets the shot away. Alaya can't control it right in there. With no trouble on the rebound, Carl Valentine. And a poor play there by Purdy Alaya, who did not control the rebound. And whether I give him the benefit of the doubt of the spinning ball or not, I don't know.
Another look at it. It's Willie from the side. And it comes into Bobby Lenarduzzi, and Alea, she really should have had that ball. The rebound comes to Valentine, parks it easily into the open net, and that's 2 goals for Carl Valentine.
And with less than 4 minutes left in the match, Carl Valentine's second goal makes it 3-1 Whitecaps.
Good morning. Welcome to Fitzblitz Travel. Aloha. Thanks. We'd like to book a one-day holiday to Port
Edmonton, a one-day holiday in Valley Hill.
Oh, well, man. And a one-day holiday
And at the conservatory.
and the planetarium.
Oh,
Folks, you don't need a travel agent. One-day holidays are all right here in Edmonton. Well, in that case, book us in for a week. For a week?
Edmonton is full of one-day holidays. Get away for a day, right here at home.
I need a holiday.
If we have a chance to look at Carl Valentine right there, and another chance to look at how he put that ball in the net, it was almost a gift as far as he was concerned.
See, I think the goalkeeper really should have had that, and of course Valentine should have been checked by Lodovegas there, who was giving him far too much room. Good shot over the falling goalkeeper.
And if I inadvertently said there's 3 minutes left in the match, I meant, of course, first half, as we are now at 2:45 left in this first 45 minutes of play.
They've not called any assists on that play, John. Of course, it was a rebound, but it was started by Johnson, carried on by Bob Lenarduzzi.
Time on the clock, of
Offside.
course, unofficial. We are waiting for the official time, of course. They usually try and sink it at 2 minutes, but a foul call there by Tony Evangelista. Offside. Actually, is on the far side. The linesman made that call as Buzz Parsons takes the kick to midfielder Steve Kember. With Valentine there, marked by Lodovegas. One-on-one, and he gets away from him. Now he has Nobley to contend with. Carl Valentine. Now he has 2 defenders there. John Webb comes back to offer support. That leaves Johnson free. So Webb goes and takes him. And Valentine's dropped back to the top of the box.
Play for a little bit of time. Play for a little bit of time here, John. 2 minutes left, and they don't want Edmonton to score. They'd like to keep the ball down in this end of the field now for a while.
Well, in terms of bonus points, the Whitecaps have the maximum. Now it's just a case of making sure they have a victory, because the bonus points don't mean 9 unless you win the match.
Exactly.
Of course, the pressure therefore goes squarely onto the Edmonton Drillers, down 3-1. And of course, that was the final score here last year, when nostalgia fans will remember that Kevin Hector got his hat trick here in this pitch in the 3-1 victory, scoring all 3 goals as Johnson's long throw in once again onto the head of Weimark. He gets it there, but he couldn't quite get the flick where he wanted it to, which was onto the boot or the shoulder or the head of one Carl Valentine, who already has scored twice today, and his striking partner Trevor Weimark opened the scoring today for the 3 Vancouver goals. Eddie Kirshner has the lone Edmonton goal as we are counting down to 1 minute here. 1:06 left in this first half of play. Edmonton seems to be just somewhat deflated now, having that 3rd goal put by them. They were still in it at 2-1 because they struck very quickly themselves, only to have the Caps get a disputed goal, albeit counting now.
Well, a goal here by Edmonton would really put them back in the game, no question.
Drew Ferguson's
Chance.
cross now controlled. Knocked away there. He tries to go down, does Eddie Kirshner, but is not seen by the official.
Tried
Whoever
for a
it was, it wasn't called. Jerry Gray gets it into touch here and throw in on this side with 35 seconds and counting left in this first half.
Rob Alarm made a couple of excellent saves so far in this first half.
John Webb, 20 seconds and counting. Peter Nobley. Andre Ustrom. Ustrom knocks it into the box. On the run there's Hilkes, but Grobelar is there. He tries to submarine him. He couldn't get there.
Lots of
10
diving
seconds.
going on down in that box at the moment. Players just falling over all over the place. They're really hoping for a penalty kick, I imagine, and who knows, they may get one.
Well, they won't now with 3 seconds, 2, and the referee will agree with the clock that the first half has ended. No time left, and the Vancouver Whitecaps go with a 2-goal lead into the dressing rooms. Referee Tony Evangelista in a rather volatile first half, and there's a man who scored 2 goals. At the end of the first half, the score, the Vancouver Whitecaps 3, the Edmonton Drillers 1. We'll be back with our halftime features after this. An exciting first half would be understating. A 3-1 match in favor of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, where Trevor Weimark has scored his team-leading 7th goal, and Carl Valentine has scored a pair for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Eddie Kirshner replying for Edmonton, as the cheers in the background you hear are for the players on the pitch, which are the Edmonton Drillers Supporters Club versus the Vancouver Whitecaps Supporters Club. Probably not the happiest man in the ballpark at this point would be a well-known executive across Canada and certainly around the world in soccer circles. I welcome to our telecast the Vice President and General Manager of the Edmonton Drillers, and Graham Leggett. I don't imagine you are the happiest man on the pitch at this point.
Well, I'm not on the pitch, but I'm happy with the crowd. The crowd is excellent. They've seen an entertaining game.
I feel the score should be 1-1 right now, but of course I'm biased, obviously. Valentine's playing an excellent game for Vancouver up front. They're leaving him and Wymark as the front target men, and they're packing back in defense. But we bounced one off the crossbar. Valentine's second goal was so far offside it was a joke. But these things have been happening all season, so we're getting accustomed to it.
Graham, you've welcomed challenges all your life, and I just wonder where this one ranks in putting soccer on the map in Edmonton in terms of your previous challenges.
Well, I think that the potential here is tremendous. I think that we can do what Vancouver has done, thanks to the good work of John Best and Tony Waiters. We're only halfway through our second season, and already we're averaging over 10, almost 11,000 people. So we're getting there. We've strengthened the team. The team is a good team. We had a good game in Vancouver the other night, although we lost. And although we're down 3-1 in this game, as I say, we bounced a couple off the crossbar. The goalkeeper's made a couple of great saves. So we're playing offensive soccer, which the crowd likes to see.
Certainly more so today than I've ever seen you play.
Well, we have to play offensive soccer. We'll lose goals, but we'll score goals. And that's the way the game should be played. To put 10 people back in defense like some teams do in this league, we don't believe in it.
Certainly in Timo Liakoski, you have one of the most affable men in the coaching circles in the league. And, of course, Vancouverites know what a boon that can be with the experience they've had under Tony Waiters.
Well, Tony Waiters is an excellent coach and a super guy, and John Best has backed him up very well in Vancouver from an administrative point of view. In Timo, we're delighted to have Timo. He's done an excellent job of recruiting in the close season. We've got 21 new players out of 26. So it takes time to build, but we have the potential to be a good side. Right now, we're just getting to know each other, and I'm sure that come the end of the season, we'll be somewhere around about the playoffs for sure.
Do you have a free rein to go with this club the way you want to? In other words, has Peter Pocklington shown you his wallet a few times?
Well, Peter's excellent. We haven't spent the money on players that Vancouver and some of the other clubs have spent because we just don't have it. We're building up, and we're in a process of strengthening the team, but we can't go out and strengthen it all in one season, although if you look at our roster, you maybe think we've tried to.
Would you like to? Would you like to have the...
No, I think I'm very pleased with the personnel we've got playing-wise. We have an excellent staff, good players, skillful players. We don't play a physical game. We play a skillful type of game. As you can have seen from the first half, we're not a physical side. So maybe perhaps Vancouver have the edge on us as far as the physical side is concerned.
Well, you're at least getting the message, Graham. We welcome you from moving west from Toronto to Edmonton. Maybe one of these days you'll see the light and get all the way to the coast. And anyway, that's from a Vancouver standpoint. My thanks to the general manager and vice president of the Drillers, Mr. Graham Leggett. It's halftime at Commonwealth Stadium. The score is the Vancouver Whitecaps 3, the Edmonton Drillers 1. Next home game is 1 week from today, the 29th of June, when they host the New York Cosmos. Game time for this match is at 12:30 in Vancouver. Some tickets are still available at Whitecaps outlets. Next Sunday, the Cosmos at Vancouver, and that always fills the ballpark. And perhaps Carl Valentine will be smiling at that this time next week as well. Timo Liakoski. I don't know yet, as I'm checking through their 11 men on the pitch, whether they've made any roster changes other than John Goosens, who came in for Tankton Caddy late in the first half.
I don't see any, John. Certainly none in the Vancouver lineup. Don't see any in the Edmonton lineup.
And the second half is underway, and we'll look forward to Edmonton attacking as much or more so than they did in the first half. Down 2 goals, a 3-1 deficit to the Vancouver Whitecaps. Second half play underway. Runaway coming to the attack. But control there, and going to call it a corner. They're going to call it a corner as we have
another dive.
A little bit of showbiz down the far side by Eddie Kirshner. He certainly has been a factor for the Drillers, as he now has his teammate Klaus Heinlein questions the referee. And here's what happened in Drobelar.
Yeah, it's quite a spectacular dive, but you can't really dive too much like that because the referee is going to get onto you, and he's not going to give you one sometime when you deserve one.
Heinlein's corner goes off the back of Steve Kimber. Now Mike Sweeney has a chance. He gets it into Oostrom. His head just goes wide of the post. Goal kick, Whitecaps. As the Edmonton Drillers serve notice, they're going to come and attack in the second half. The Drillers' next home game is on Sunday, July 6th. That's their next home game. It's a 2:30 kickoff when the Atlanta Chiefs come to town. Tickets at all Drillers outlets. Bruce Grobelar's goal kick. Far across midfield. Sweeney goes up for it with Valentine. Foul called there by referee Tony Evangelista.
On Sweeney.
I will agree with Mr. Leggett in that these fans are boisterous. As the numbers continue to grow, they certainly are becoming educated into the game of soccer.
Graham was quite incensed when he came up here at half-time that the Vancouver second goal was offside, and on the replay it certainly looked like Valentine may well have been in an offside position. We thought the ball might have come off a defender, in which case he would have played him onside, but it was hard to tell on that replay.
Well, do you want to go into the cliche about, well, they have the better angle down there. We have the replays and the weird angles, etc., etc. We use every hackneyed phrase in the book. The fact of the matter is
it counts.
The human element, yes, that's true. That's the bottom line. The human element, once again, comes into play. The agony and the ecstasy.
Oh, boy.
The human drama.
Chance for Edmonton. Another dive. This time.
He is calling it. He is calling it this time.
Finally going to give one. All those dives paid off, I guess.
Klaus Heinlein will go.
Heinlein.
He goes down, and it'll be Bruce Grobelaar one-on-one with the Edmonton Drillers. We are just 2.5 minutes into the second half. Questioning the call is Roger Kenyon.
I think it was Kenyon that went in for the tackle.
Dwight Lodevagis has never missed on one of these. He's 4 for 4. He has a team-leading 5 goals, 4 of which have come from that 12-yard spot. He tees the ball up right there, talks to Evangelista about it, and now it's one-on-one, Dwight Lodevagis and Bruce Grobelaar. Penalty kick, Edmonton. What you're seeing will tell the story. Lodevagis and Grobelaar, penalty kick, Drillers.
Good one, right in the corner. Beautifully taken penalty kick.
He throws Grobelaar for a moment. Grobelaar finally guessed right, but he had him leaning to his left. Grobelaar dove right. If he was 7'2" instead of 6'2", he might have had it, but Lodevagis goes 5 for 5. He makes this match 3-2 in favor of the Whitecaps, the Drillers' second goal.
Well taken. Grobelaar just about a foot away from that. He went the right way, as you mentioned, John. But a well-taken penalty kick, no question.
He had him leaning the wrong way. And Grobelaar finally made a valiant attempt. But the Drillers are back in this ball game. A 1-goal deficit once again.
Drillers goal scored unassisted by number 4, Dwight Lodevagis. Time 46 minutes, 15 seconds.
46-15, the official time, unassisted, of course.
Kenyon.
The defending champion Whitecaps are back in it again in terms of not putting a game away. They had opportunities before in matches and let it slip away, not the least of which was in San Diego to start off their road season. Now on the counter-attack with the fans behind them, Andre Ostrom. Andre Ostrom down the far side. Jerry Gray looking to cover. Ostrom takes it out wide, knocks it into the box for Kirshner. That's too far for him. Pressing forward, however, the Drillers keep at it. Clownheim to Kirshner. Lenarduzzi.
Lenarduzzi to Johnson.
Willie Johnson knocks a long ball up here for Carl Valentine on the run with Mike Sweeney. He is knocked down from behind. Waiters off the bench that one to help the official call that. Mike Sweeney, SFU grad, number 2 draft choice in '79 for Edmonton. Now time is being called, and now Tony Evangelista is coming down to caution Tony Waiters. Keep your mouth shut, sir. And words to that effect.
Waiters was up off that bench very fast when Valentine was brought down by Sweeney there. Takes his place again.
Those arguments never end in a tie. The man in the black shirt always wins them.
Exactly.
That's your number. You're the winner.
The free quick. Subgoalie from Kemper. Comes to Lenarduzzi. Can't quite get by Peter Nogley. The veteran defender on this club. Intercepted there by Kemper. Kemper to Weimark. A wall pass. Give and go. Kemper in all alone. He's in all alone. He's got 3 defenders.
Oh.
Kemper got so much time, so much space. He waited just that 1 second too long.
He really did, and he should have either have fallen down or had a shot or something there. Just came totally free. All the kinds of time right here. Couldn't get the shot away, and it was just booted away. Great chance for Kemba.
Peter Nogley was almost burned by that man right there, Steve Kemper, but he couldn't get it away. Now on the counterattack, the Drillers. But Nogley shoots. It's right over the crossbar with a great setup there from a teammate. And the Edmonton Drillers are back in it at 3-2 as you look at the image of Edmonton cheerleaders.
This is Pill Country.
Big. There are no bears out here. Bears? I didn't say anything about bears. Did I say anything about bears, Bill?
When the time is right and your friends are there, that's the time for Lethbridge Pilsner beer.
Now they're still, and Pilsner will give you great I heard something out there.
Good taste every time. That's Lethbridge Pilsner Beer, Alberta's good taste.
Channel 3, Cable 2's Taxi.
My family and me very...
Of the second half at Commonwealth Stadium, the Drillers trailing by 1 to the Vancouver Whitecaps, but they certainly have the momentum. The Whitecaps had a chance to regain a 2-goal margin with Steve Kember, but the Drillers withstood the offensive barrage and have been pressing forward themselves. The Whitecaps, however, controlling and trying to slow it down here at midfield with John Craven and Steve Kember combining. Kember now on the far side. Buzz Parsons pushing forward now.
Good ball.
Not offside. Jerry Gray is out there. Jerry Gray's cross into the middle. The head of Mike Sweeney. It will be a corner kick as he and Valentine, who have been like shadows for one another most of the afternoon, go up for it. It went off the head of Sweeney. Fine run there by Buzz Parsons to get the ball to Jerry Gray. Subsequently, the cross, and now the corner kick as Willie Johnston. The chance of Willie on the far side. At the near post, he has Valentine and Lenarduzzi.
He's also got Roger Kenyon, who's calling for it way over beyond the goal, and it's going to try to get to him.
Knocks it to the far post. He goes up with Lodevegas. Lodevegas wins it. And he knocks it up on the far side. This is Kirshner in the middle to Nogley. Nogley, a defender, attacking now. Knocks it up to John Webb, too far for him. He couldn't get it on the boot the way he wanted to. Bruce Grobelar then throws it up on this near side to Willie Johnston, coming right at our field level camera. Johnston dropping it back now for Paul Nelson. Steve Kember.
Kember, of course, taking over from Alan Ball in that midfield general spot.
Ball expected back for Wednesday's match in Washington, and Rudy Kroll expected in Vancouver on Thursday to be ready to play against the Cosmos next Sunday. John Craven pushing forward. He's still pushing forward. Now he has Valentine trying to make the turn. Valentine one-on-one with Sweeney. He keeps at him. He gets by him. He gets the cross in, but Lodevegas is there once again to knock it away from Trevor Weimark.
Fine play by Valentine to get that cross away there.
Well, I don't have a vote in man of the match, but he would get all of mine if I had any. I don't want to prejudice any of those who do vote, Mr. Cross.
Well, if you look at the statistics, they're pretty impressive so far. 2 goals and 1 assist in 3 Vancouver goals. But there have been some very good individual performances here today. I think Grobelar made some excellent saves in that first half.
And, of course, for Drillers fans, I do not want to prejudice you by telling you I can't see the 11 orange shirts out there. This is an award offered by the Vancouver Whitecaps Soccer Club.
That's right. Nobley, of course, has played extremely well for the Drillers, but somehow you kind of always expect Nobley to play very well, and it's a surprise when he doesn't.
At midfield now, the advantage rule prevails. Coming back now is Steve Kember. Kember to Valentine. He and Sweeney are after it again. You'll see that all day long, as we have seen in the first half.
Sweeney's very fast, of course. Valentine is extremely fast. You normally expect to... Oh, chance.
This Hilkes.
Oh,
Hilkes, but he had to take it. He couldn't control it, and Roger Kenyon was there to take it away. Hilkes had Bobby Lenarduzzi beaten, and he, of course, is the danger man in the front wall for the striker, for the Drillers, albeit that Eddie Kirshner has their first goal. And Lodevegas on the penalty kick. This is John Webb, who's avoided there by Willie Johnston. And Bob Lenarduzzi with Nelson on the near side here. Weimark has it, and Oostrub. Up for it, Lodevegas and Weimark. Lodevegas wins that one. Kirshner to Clownheim. Clownheim and Nogley. Nogley coming forward now. He has Kember between him and the net. Nogley one-on-one with Kember. Trying to set it up, get somebody into space. He tries for Kirshner. Lenarduzzi heads that away. John Webb comes up for the rebound, but Paul Nelson there. He has it taken away by Nogley.
Mistake, trying to dribble out of your own end like that.
Kirshner's cross. On the turn, the shot. The shot by Goossens, and another fine save with Kirshner right there to pounce on the rebound, but there wasn't one thanks to Bruce Grobelar. Well, the keepers in this match have had to make more saves, more fine saves, Mr. Zelaya and Mr. Grobelar right there, than they have in the previous 90 minutes in Vancouver when it was 1-0. Certainly both teams attack-minded this afternoon at Commonwealth Stadium.
More than they have in several games, I think, certainly on the part of Grobelar.
You'd have to think that the grass field will be appealing to all 22 men on the pitch tonight, or this afternoon.
Drillers pressing.
Goose is down the far side. Yet another corner kick for the Drillers.
And again, we'll see if they go to the near post with a little flick.
Hilkes disgusted with the non-call of a foul there, but they do get the corner kick. John Webb,
the
number
handball,
5.
I believe.
Drew Ferguson goes to the near post, along with Goosens. Hilkes is in the middle there. Ostrom comes up to offer support. Klaus Heinlein will be taking it. Takes a short corner.
Just tipped away by Grobloff, another corner.
Well, I'm not sure that he wanted to go to the far post there. It was sort of betwixt and between. He went further than a short corner.
That ball looked like it might even have been curling into the net directly from the corner kick.
And that's been known to happen.
Oh, yes.
Taking the corner.
Ostrom, Ferguson, and Kirshner now at the near post. Drew Ferguson takes this one. Kirshner, he's tackled there. Sweeney comes in for it, takes the kick, and a fine shot, just wide. Grobelaar dove for it, but it was wide of the net.
It was a good try.
So now we have an argument on the field between Kimber and Parsons. They try to get this defense straightened out with a 3-2 Whitecaps lead.
10 at the end of the...
Say hi to Harold Stereo. Come by the Harold Stereo. Say hi, hi, hi. Come listen to the sound at Harold Stereo. The best sound to be found. Come on by. Say hi to Harold Stereo.
At Kingsway Toyota, we sell Toyota pickup trucks to a lot of people for a lot of good reasons.
Ich will ein robustes Fahrzeug für raues Gelände. Und Kingsway Toyotas Vierradantrieb ist meine Wahl.
Мій Toyota є найліпший зі всіх троків, що я мав на фармі. Він є досить великий і моцний, а як я.
偉大又好使，你係得嘅。Ooh, what a feeling!
Head to Kingsway Toyota, 109th and Kingsway. Grab hold and take off.
Of 12,510 on hand, enjoying this match between the Whitecaps and the Drillers. Not enjoying the result as much as they will if they get another goal from their orange-clad Edmonton 11. And they are certainly working toward it, working for it. If and when they do get it, you can't question the fact that they deserve it. The Whitecaps trying to get their defensive tactics sorted out. As we saw before we took a break there, that Steve Kimber and Buzz Parsons were having words. Kimber obviously telling Parsons what he wanted him to do and where he wanted him to be, especially on those set pieces, as Hilkes and Roger Kenyon go at it. Kenyon does win it, and Kimber's back there to offer support and knock it into space to Bob Lenarduzzi, who just does a good job there of keeping it inbound.
Foul called on Hilkes.
And we've had David Robb and Ray Hankin warming up on the sidelines for the Whitecaps, and now we are offering a substitution.
Somebody's coming in right now.
Looks like both of them are, with Trevor Weimark, probably with that ankle being favored a little bit, and Paul Nelson coming out in favor of Messrs. Robb and Hankin. Ray Hankin on your left, number 8. David Robb, number 14. Going in for him as well, as Tony Waiters has a word with Paul Nelson, probably saying he played a fine match. He's shaking his right hand. I don't know whether he got injured. Certainly a hand injury wouldn't keep Paul Nelson out of the match. I can't think of too many injuries that would keep him out.
I think Waiters may well have been looking at the play a couple of moments ago when Nelson tried to dribble his way outside the penalty, his own penalty area, lost the ball. Kind of a cardinal sin. You don't do that. If you're in trouble, you just get rid of the ball. That may have been the reason why Waiters decided to take him out. Anyway, Hankin and Robin for Nelson and Weimark.
Well, two imports in for an import and a Canadian. The Canadian men on the Vancouver roster are Messrs. Buzz Parsons, Bob Lenarduzzi, and Jerry Gray, so they still have their 3-men minimum there. The non-imports on the field for Edmonton are Dwight Lodevegas, Mike Sweeney, and Drew Ferguson. The Whitecaps started 4 Canadians. Now this is Lodevegas getting in on goal, and his shot is just wide. He made a fine run, as we've seen the defenders on both sides today pushing forward and attacking. And in that case, it was Dwight Lodevegas just shooting wide, and the score remains 3-2 Whitecaps. Stadium as the Whitecaps on the attack. 29-10 to be exact left in this match according to the score clock. The referee, of course, has the official time, and the Whitecaps pushing forward one of the few times in this second half, but they have 4 fresh legs on there in the persons of Mr. Hankin and Mr. David Robb. Buzz Parsons crossed into the box there for Valentine with David Robb supporting. This is David Robb with the ball, watched by Andre Ostrom. David Robb one-on-one. Hasn't seen much action in recent weeks. Getting his chance now for approximately half an hour in the blue and white. Carl Valentine takes a Bob Lenarduzzi pass, but Mike Sweeney does a good job of taking it away from him. And this is Klaus Heinlein.
Dangerous.
The central midfielder attacking for the Drillers now. Watched by David Robb. Knocks it into space on the far side here to Hilkes. Hilkes trying to get away from John Craven. He does so. A foul call by the linesman. Now Craven already takes it out. He's going to get at least a yellow on this one.
He already has a yellow, as I recall.
We could have a similar situation as last week where the Caps may have to finish this match with 10 men. We'll see what happened. The original foul was all right. The second one is the one that he's going to get called for. That was okay, although the linesman had his flag up, Jeff.
Yeah, I think he was calling the foul. I think Hilkus certainly went over Craven's leg. No question.
And that's when he took him out right there with a fine hip check, except the game is not hockey nor football.
It's almost on the goal line, about a yard in play and about 3 yards outside the penalty box.
Timo Lukoski walking down there in the near sideline to have a look at his injured player, number 16, Lorenz Hilkus. 28-year-old German striker lying there. Trainer Kip Petch has attended to him now for the second time in this match, as Peter Nogley gets sets to take a free kick just outside the penalty area. I did not see a card come out, Jeff.
No, if there was, it would have to be a red one because Craven already has a yellow.
Nogley's free kick. Headed away there.
Good.
Timo Lukoski strolling back to the bench now after having words with the official.
It was Lodevegas that headed that ball just over the bar on Nogley's free kick.
Should have recognized the reddish blonde hair of the young man from Turner Valley, Alberta, of Dutch heritage, where he was raised after being born here in Alberta. The Kenyan, the Hulk that he is, was between he and I, Lodevegas and I at least, blocked out his number. But it was a fine heading play there off the free kick of Peter Nogley as the Whitecaps come back now, only to have close hindline. Once again, another wave by the Drillers. As the sign on the far side of the field says break the wave. Well, they're certainly creating one of their own. Are the Edmonton Drillers. As
good ball.
Ferguson, Goosen, his shot hits the crossbar for the second time.
Over the top of the crossbar that time.
And it just rolls in across the goal line for they're calling it a corner kick. They're saying it deflected off one of the Whitecap players.
Don't quite see how it did,
certainly
but
Goosen's rifled that shot. Drew Ferguson starts this, Jeff.
Yes, he does indeed. You see that? There's the shot. No, it certainly didn't touch Groblar's hand, but they're saying that it did. Anyway, it's a corner kick.
Mike Sweeney with target man. Drew Ferguson to the near post. He tries to flick it on. He does. Kirshner can't get there before Bob Lenarduzzi, however, so John Webb controls now. At the 35. Inside the 35. Nogley. Fine defensive play there by David Robb, and Buzz Parsons controls. Fullback overlapping. Willie Johnston now going to have words with Lodevegas.
And Lodevegas is going to get a little word from the referee here. Referee Evangelista.
Mr. Evangelista will have the first and the last words here.
No question. The referee is from Toronto.
Notice how they pay attention.
Has been quite physical at times, this game. Made to look a little more physical than it actually is, I think, by having quite a few acrobatic dives.
Kember. Hankin just over his head. Cleared away there by Ostrom. Kember intercepts once again. Johnston goes up for it. He won't out-hit anybody for a ball, and John Webb takes it away from him, but Johnston back kicks it there to Bob Lenarduzzi. He's taken down from behind. And he is upset because that's virtually the same kind of play he was red carded for on Wednesday. And now it's really getting physical out there. As Buzz Parsons went up with Goosen, Parsons went down, but I think it was the Edmonton player that took the worst of it. And now a grin for Mr. Evangelista, which is always, it's almost sadistic when you see an official or somebody else laugh at you, because that can be really frustrating, especially when you're on the short end of the count at this point.
Indeed. As I say, there have been some rather acrobatic performances.
Drew Ferguson once again. He made a fine play to set up Goosen's last time. Into the box once again with Kirshner there. However, Grobelaar is equal to that occasion and gets that cross, and he controls it. Certainly Edmonton pressing forward. 25 minutes and 10 seconds left in this second half of play. And in the match, unless the Drillers can get the equalizer. The Drillers have not been in any overtime matches, at least they've not had a result in overtime. However, they have taken 2 overtimes right through to the shootout, and they have won both the shootout contests they have been in this year. Lodevegas and Ferguson combining once again. They're favoring going up that left-hand side of late. Lodevegas on the overlap. Lodevegas on the overlap now. He has space.
Another dive.
Knocked away there. Fine defensive play by Jerry Gray. Off a driller will be a Vancouver throw-in on the far side. Sweeney intercepting that attempted throw-in for Valentine.
Both drillers' fullbacks checking very, very tightly on the Vancouver wingers.
Hilkus took out Parsons right there, and he's going to get a yellow card. Some of his earlier words with Mr. Evangelista may have backfired on him because Lorenz Hilkus is now being yellow carded. John Goossens, number 17, coming up to offer some moral support for Mr. Hilkus. But he's booked as the driller striker, Lorenz Hilkus. It's a submarine job by Hilkus on Parsons, yeah.
Here it is again. You see Parsons has the ball, and there's a takeout, no question. After the ball is gone, the hip goes right in.
Parsons holding his head. They had a collision. He had a collision in practice the other day.
He and John Craven, indeed. They banged heads very, very severely, and Parsons got cut quite badly on the crown of the head. Craven got it over the eye.
We have Dwight Lowages with a minor injury on the cue, so as Kip Petch looks after the... Mr. Lodovages has been attended to, and play has just resumed as the Whitecaps take the ball into Edmonton territory where the drillers regain control. Keeper Purdy Alaya has fed it forward now. The drillers keep coming back, and the man bringing it and leading all the attacks, Peter Nobley, their sweeper. Somewhat errant pass there. An even more dangerous pass from a defensive standpoint, Bob Lenarduzzi.
And Roger Kenyon comes roaring over to the linesman saying, please, that was way offside. And now the referee Evangelistas having another word with Roger Kenyon. Going to keep a lid on this.
There's 27 officials out there, 11 of them are wearing blue uniforms, 11 orange, and the 3 men in black. As Bob Lenarduzzi now comes up. The defenders on both sides, as we mentioned earlier, have been pressing forward as striker David Robb. Actually, he's in midfield now in favor of Paul Nelson.
Not a very good ball by Robb, that one, way to the right of the goalkeeper.
Elias punt. Jerry Gray knocks it back, and it's been ping-pong here for the last couple of minutes. Tennis fans will enjoy this as Messrs. Elia and Grobelar have knocked the ball back and forth. Bob Lenarduzzi, a long ball here for Carl Valentine. Valentine with Sweeney on his back. Goes into touch. Throwing drillers, and they take it quickly. Hilkus.
Good ball
behind. Hilkus heading for midfield now on the far side. Too far for Drew Ferguson.
Robb got a piece of that one.
Lorenz Hilkus, who was just booked a few moments ago. As Drew Ferguson takes that throw-in with Jan Goossens combining. They've been an effective combo this last half.
Drew Ferguson's played very well today, the boy from Powell River, former Whitecap, as we mentioned.
Nobody's chip into the box. Bruce Robillard there before Eddie Kirshner, who opened the scoring for the drillers. Didn't get to it. Robillard drops it. Can't take more than 3 steps and still carry the ball. That's why you see them dribble it or roll it, as he did right there. Just under 22 minutes remaining in regulation time in this match as Willie Johnston heads. That was offside. Ray Hankin got behind the defense. A bit of an offside trap there by the drillers' defenders.
Seemed to be a very similar play to the other end a moment or two ago, which was not called an offside, but that certainly was.
Peter Nogley set to take the kick. He does so. A long ball this time. The balls are getting longer. That doesn't usually happen. It's usually that way in the early going, but the balls will be getting longer here in this second half. Lenarduzzi controls. It's more of a gamble to play them that way. And once again, a return punt. Valentine goes down. He has his ankle, and the advantage rule is called. No foul on Nogley. Valentine is still down. Meanwhile, the drillers are on the attack. Kirshner has it knocked away from him. Further support from the drillers. It's knocked over the byline, and it's a goal kick.
Valentine's still down.
Goossens couldn't quite control it. Mike Sweeney is attending to Carl Valentine, who is still down, while Bruce Grobelar prepares to take this goal kick.
I don't think he'll take it until he sees his roommate get up off the ground.
There he is right there, all alone, not a friend in the world. Mind you, he has a couple of them 20 feet in front of him with Messrs. Waiter and Wright, the trainer, but the referee chooses to either ignore them or he hasn't seen them. So
he told Valentine to go off the field. Now, that strictly is what you're supposed to do. They don't usually do it in the North American League, but an injured player who can get to the sidelines under his own steam is to go off. And there's Valentine is going off under his own steam too.
And now, if I'm not mistaken, he can't get back on until waved back on.
That's right. Exactly. Although I have seen that happen in this league too. I've seen players go off and come back on willy-nilly, as they say.
Bob Beletto got up off the bench now to warm up, so perhaps Valentine cannot return to play. Either that or Tony Waiters figures that he can hold on and wants to have more defensive prowess in the game in the form of Mr. Bob Beletto. And another punt there from Bruce Grobelar. This one will go into touch right in front of Bob Belitho right there. And this, no, it didn't go into touch as Ustrom saved it. That was Bob Belitho in the sweatsuit there you saw in the foreground. Meanwhile, back in the Whitecaps territory, this is Drew Ferguson on the right side at midfield now, knocking into space, but it is taken there by John Craven with a vicious boot. He controls that, and Jerry Gray gets it back to his own keeper. Yep. He's just getting up now for the first time. He has a sock down with trainer.
Right ankle by the looks of it.
Well, he looks to be okay. At least he says he's okay. So perhaps Coach Waiters and physiotherapist.
Referee waved him back on.
George Wright let him go, and they do so. The referee, as you said, did wave him on. So we're back to an 11-man complement for each side. Eddie Kirshner there. Drillers' pressure has been waning just a little bit in a few moments. Maybe they're waiting for the last 15 or 10 minutes or so to get the final sustained drive, but they have thrown just about everything they've had at the Whitecaps defense, and with two exceptions, one a penalty kick.
The Whitecaps did try to slow it down a few moments ago. Edmonton was coming down quite fast. They're moving the ball well upfield, and the Whitecaps tried to slow it down a little bit.
This Lodowegas trying to get away from Craven, and a fine defensive play by John Craven, who's been in the middle of a lot of the physical action today. And yet again, Bruce Grobelar punts it downfield. This time not as far as he could. Just over the midline. Jerry Gray, chased by Goossens. Chooses to slow it down once again. Parsons knocks it up to Carl Valentine. Valentine and Sweeney. Sweeney goes to his keeper. And Elia will control the ball.
Didn't seem much wrong with Valentine's ankle then. He really hustled out to the wing, so I guess he's had a touch of the magic sponge or the magic spray or whatever it was that George Wright had in his hand, and away they go again.
The crowd trying to get behind their team now. 12,510 on hand here at 42,000-seat Commonwealth Stadium. I shouldn't really say 12,510 Edmonton fans because it's a relatively small by ratio, but boisterous crowd of somewhere between 50 and 100 Whitecap supporters who have made the trek from the West Coast. They played the match. We never did get the score between the supporters clubs, but they played an exhibition match. We have some final scores we'll pass on to you when we get a moment later. There are 6 other games around the league today, and we have 4 of the finals for you momentarily.
One of particular interest to Vancouver is that the Los Angeles Aztecs lost today 2-1 to the Toronto Blizzard in Toronto.
Well, they get 1 point, and if Vancouver can sustain a 9-point victory, the Whitecaps can be within 1 point of second place. And that shot there from Willie Johnston, knocked away by Elia, and then the defense comes to his rescue as Carl Valentine was in there with Steve Kimber. Certainly the best scoring chance of the second half for the Whitecaps with David Robb at midfield.
Certainly was.
To the other second half sub, Ray Hankin, who can't control. He slips in the slippery turf. I'm not sure he has the right boots on if he slips like that. Purdy Elia. Now just rolling it to Lodowegas. Choosing not to give the ball away with the long kicks. But Lodowegas does. And he goes to Ferguson with it. Marked by Parsons, a pair of Vancouverites. Jerry Gray. John Craven. Far side to Willie Johnston.
Operating on the right wing at the
Johnston
moment.
with Gray in space. Gray running to it with Lodowegas chasing him. Gray gets the cross, but it's over the goal line. It will be a goal kick for the Edmonton Drillers. With 16 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the second half, the Caps sustain a 1-goal lead. As Steve Lukoski contemplates the last 15 minutes and 33 seconds and a 1-goal deficit, we can bring you up to date on some out-of-town scores. We have 4 of the 6 final today. L.A. was a loser at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, 2-1 to the Blizzard in a shootout. The Aztecs losing, getting just 1 point. Fort Lauderdale lost at Giant Stadium. The Cosmos beat them 2-0. The Cosmos now 12-4. Fort Lauderdale 11-7. San Jose lost in Washington. The Diplomats winners 5-4. And in Philadelphia, you'd have to consider an upset for the Fury. 4-2, they defeated San Diego. Philadelphia's 4th victory, San Diego's 8th loss. The other 2 games we are awaiting results, Houston at Tulsa and Chicago at California.
San Diego defeat will be good news to Edmonton fans.
Throw in Edmonton at the near side. Andre Ustrom taking it. On the attack once again, that's thwarted by the Defense of the Drillers and keeper Purdy Alaya. We have a second quarter score in the exhibition football game at Empire Stadium this afternoon. The Calgary Stampeders are leading the BC Lions 17-14 in the second quarter. David Robb taking the ball from Drew Ferguson there for a Whitecaps throw in at midfield as he cheats and walks up and gets the ire of the fans.
That's done deliberately. Quite often it's a little bit of a time waster.
Except the referee stopped the clock there.
He did indeed. Quite often they won't do that. They'll advance 5-10 yards, knowing very well they're going to be pulled back. Waits maybe 10-15 seconds. It won't now because the clock has started again.
He says to Mr. Robb, there aren't that many yellow lines on the field, sir. Please keep track of the one you're supposed to be at. The throw into Valentine is knocked away by Sweeney, and Peter Nogie knocks it up into space for Klaus Heinlein. Klaus Heinlein gets by Gray, gets by Hankin. On the far side now, Goossens. Goossens one-on-one with Parsons. Gets the chip in for Kirshner. Headed away there by Bob Lenarduzzi. A fine defensive play. Kember's header over to David Robb. He fakes a header, and he is knocked down by Hilkes. And Hilkes is probably going to get another warning now. No, just a foul. The linesman called that one, and the referee was right on it, too, in terms of being aware of the flag. Lawrence Hilkes.
A little acrobatic, too, on the part of David Robb. He was a foul, no question, but...
Once again, we remind you that the Drillers return home.
BCTV's coverage of the Whitecaps resumes on Saturday, July 26, 7:30. And we bring you the game against the Portland Timbers. That'll be live from Portland Civic Stadium, July 26th on British Columbia Television.
At the stadium today.
With exactly 13 minutes to play, the Drillers on yet another attack. Knocked into touch there by David Robb. Second half substitution. Somewhat of a collision there with Klaus Heinlein, but they shake hands on it. No offense intended there, sir. I just wanted to get the ball out of your control. Drew Ferguson takes the free kick. Nobly knocks it into the box. Ooh. Chip there, he's chipped. Klaus Heinlein chipped in, but Roger Kenyon was back there to save it in a fine play. Ferguson to Nogli to Hilkes, and it's a corner kick for the Edmonton Drillers.
See that again. Grobelar's caught in no man's land, a little lob shot. Fortunately for the Vancouver team, Roger Kenyon gets back, heads it clear. Or a corner kick.
In hockey, they say coming out of your crease. In soccer, they say coming off your line. That's what Grobelar did, and it almost cost him as Sweeney's corner kick is knocked away. Yet another fine chance for the Drillers, who've had the better chances today. They've hit the crossbar twice. They certainly will feel they should have won this match afterwards, and of course, we're not saying it's over yet, with 12 minutes exactly remaining.
Oh, chance, Willie Johnson on the breakaway.
Willie Johnson in all alone now. He has support with Hankin. Willie trying to fake his man. He waits. He's got 4 defenders. He makes the shot.
That's Ray Hankin scores.
Made the save. Hankin puts it in the net. He was caught.
No, it's coming back. It's going to be called offside, I believe. And I don't quite see how it could be because it came off a defender.
Well, now it gives both coaches something to talk about after the match. Waiters is up off the bench. There's Mr. Evangelista. It was called on the far side by linesman Mario Perino of Winnipeg. He called the offside. Of course, we were watching the box area where Johnston set up Ray Hankin. I'm not sure it was someone inadvertent. He took the shot, and Elia got a hand on it before Hankin was able to put it into the gaping net. But no goal remains. 3-2, 11 minutes and 15 seconds to play in regulation time. And the Whitecaps' Jerry Gray, marked by Peter Nogli, and now Steve Kember. Knocks it down the line for Carl Valentine, marked there by Sweeney. Into space once again. Elia has to make a diving save because Hankin was right behind him. Jeff, maybe we can have a better look at
Here's the play again. Willie gets the ball. He puts it across. Now, that comes off the goalkeeper. So, really, I don't see how Hankin could be offside on that play. I really don't. But, however, they called it.
Well, as mentioned, the Drillers had one in the first half to complain about, and that was a Whitecaps goal that was scored and was allowed by Carl Valentine. So they were 1 for 2 in that situation. David CFRN viewers can catch the Drillers next Wednesday when they meet the Fort Lauderdale Strikers in Florida at 6 o'clock. Al McCann will have the play-by-play as Carl Valentine wraps it in the back of the net. The hat trick for Carl Valentine, matching the Kevin Hector performance of a year ago. It is 3-1 Whitecaps win. Valentine's 4th goal of the year makes it 4-2 for the Whitecaps.
That was a bolt from the Blues. Loda Vegas goes up, heads the ball, doesn't get it. And Valentine just beats Sweeney for sheer speed and hits the ball from about 10 yards. Here we go again. Carl Valentine, his 3rd goal, beats Sweeney for speed. 4-1.
That certainly puts icing on the proverbial cake as we just passed the 10-minute mark, 9:54 and counting, as Valentine, who looked like he was in danger of coming off with an ankle injury, puts the fourth goal past Purdy Alaya. And the Whitecaps again have a 2-goal lead. It's 4-2. Valentine's fourth of the year, his third of this afternoon. And by far the highest scoring game we've seen in a while with the Vancouver Whitecaps involved.
Well, they certainly haven't scored 4 goals this season. Their previous high was 3 against Minnesota.
It comes in the 79th minute, 78-37 to be exact. There are no assists on the goal. It went off the head of Dwight Lodovegas. Mike Sweeney was right beside Carl Valentine, but Valentine had that valuable half step. And he beat the keeper for the fourth goal. We have yet another chance here as Hankin comes down, but the ball's too far for him. Alaya way out of his box to control that one.
With this kind of time left, of course, Edmonton really has to push up now. There's no question. They can't afford to leave really anybody back, and that does leave the back door open a little bit for more Vancouver pressure.
The young man you saw warming up there, stretching beside the coach, was Rawson Garrow, one of the 2 Edmontonians on the Drillers roster. Gets set to make a late substitution. Perhaps he just wants to give him playing time. I don't know that he feels he can tie the match up with 2 goals in the last 8 minutes. Mind you, we had 2 goals scored within 68 seconds in the first half, one by each side. So this is an anything can happen day, and certainly a very entertaining match. By far the most productive Whitecaps performance of the year. They have not scored 4 goals all year long. As a matter of fact, they've only scored 3 once previously, and that was back on April the 19th when they beat Minnesota 3-1.
In the pouring rain, John.
Since then, it's only been no 1 or 2 goals for the Whitecaps. This by far the biggest output of the year. 8 minutes exactly remaining in the match as Bob Lenarduzzi methodically comes upfield, dropping it to midfielder David Robb. David Robb knocks it into space. Willie Johnson on the run after it, but Purdy Alaya almost stepped out. He steps over. That's a handball.
Yes, it is indeed. It's a direct free kick from just outside the box.
Or in locker room parlance, the proverbial no-no.
Yes, indeed.
The last thing he wants to face now is a penalty kick.
Well, it wouldn't be a penalty kick, of course, John, be outside the box, but it would be a direct free kick.
The Drillers now somewhat deflated, I would think, as Peter Nogley tries to lead yet another attack. This is Ostrom. Ostrom with space. He gets away from David Robb. Andre Ostrom. He beats Robb now by stopping. Tipping it on the far side. Goossens. He has it knocked away. And Jerry Gray with all kinds of room. Nogley coming up to press him now. Jerry Gray can't get by him. Nogley saves it. Going into touch. Turns around. 7 minutes exactly remaining in the match. 4-2 Whitecaps. Eddie Kirshner, a factor in the first half. Somewhat winning in the second. On the run, a fine pass and a fine shot by Nogley. But he couldn't quite get by the defender. Willie Johnston was there. Bruce Grobelar is down. I was watching Nogley's kick, and I'm not sure he got the brunt of the end of it. But Bruce Grobelar is definitely down, and George Wright. Here's Nogley's kick. Does he follow through? He gets hit by his own teammate, and probably Nogley at the same time. The shot goes wide, but George Wright is on the field with Roger Kenyon there on to offer support morally for his goalkeeper. The Whitecaps' next home game is 1 week from today on the 29th of June when they host the New York Cosmos. Game time for this match is at 12:30 Vancouver time. Some tickets are still available at Vancouver Whitecaps ticket outlets. The Drillers' next home game is on Sunday, July 6th at 2:30 when the Atlanta Chiefs come to town. Tickets are at all Drillers outlets. That's the Drillers' next home game, July 6th, here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, a 2:30 kickoff. And I must say, for my first visit ever to Commonwealth Stadium, what a fine facility it is. I'm sorry I couldn't be here in 1978 when all the festivities were going on for the Commonwealth Games. But what a magnificent facility, not only from a broadcaster standpoint, but certainly from the fans, in a 42,000-seat facility. And one of these days, I think the Drillers can look forward to filling this building with soccer fans, because they certainly have provided an entertaining team. And I don't know that I can say there have been too many crowds more boisterous per capita than those you find in Edmonton, with people like Mr. Pocklington and Mr. Leggett and Mr. Liakowski at the top of that organization. You cannot go any way but up with this organization. And let's have another look and see if we can determine with Jerry Gray and Peter Nogley on the run, how Grobelar actually got it. It looked like it was Gray with his shin getting into the thigh or ankle area of Bruce Grobelar, who has been attended to by George Wright and still favoring his right leg somewhat. But he only has to sustain that for another 6 minutes exactly. That's how much time is remaining in this match. Play now deep in the Driller zone. It hasn't been there much of today, but when it has been, it's been effective for the Whitecaps. David Robb knocks it in space for Ray Hankin, who once again loses his footing. And once again, I question his footwear. I'm not sure what he's wearing today. I think most of the players in this very deep, lush, natural turf are wearing the longer studs as opposed to multi-studs. Perhaps Mr. Hankin didn't choose to go that way. But certainly, he's coming off his finest match of the year last Wednesday in Vancouver and was a second-half sub this afternoon. This is Andre Rustrom now. The Drillers fighting the clock to say nothing of the Whitecaps. Fine line back to Rustrom. The cross into the box. Robillard is there. So are the Drillers. Kirshner gets a shot and a save off the line. Buzz Parsons, I believe, took the full brunt of that, and he rolls over in agony. He got hit right in Empire Stadium, and that's as far as I'm going to describe where he got it. But Bruce Grobillard goes up. That chip from Rustrom is a hand on it by Grobillard. Kirshner makes the turn and gets the shot away. Oh, hello, Mother. Hello, Father. Buzz Parsons goes down, and I'm not sure he has enough wind left to say his prayers, but number 7 took the brunt of that one. Have NASL stamped all over his shorts tonight. They'll never get that ink off. Oh. He'll be the one watching the clock now. Never mind the Drillers. 4:42 left in the match. What a vicious shot by Eddie Kirshner. On the run now, the Whitecaps get another chance. Nolaway just knocks it away. Lenarduzzi was on the tack on an overlap basis, trying to get the ball to Ray Hankin. The Drillers getting caught. We've had the substitution for the Edmonton Drillers. Number 11, who has come on, is Ross Ungaro, one of the Edmontonians we mentioned. He has come on for Lorenz Helkes for these last 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Johnson gets by, he's in the space of Lodovegas. Lodovegas makes the save once again. He's played a fine match today. He's only really been burned once, and that's because the Drillers were pressing forward, trying to get the equalizer. But Carl Valentine got behind him and put that 4th goal in the net for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Peter Nogley now. Drillers have to be getting desperate. Drew Ferguson. Carl Valentine watching him, along with Bob Lenarduzzi, now David Robb. Ferguson goes right into the middle. Oh, an errant pass. Did a fine job of getting it that far, and then tried to get it to Goosens, and to no avail. So Klaus Heinlein comes on with it. Ferguson takes his shot. It is blocked by Jerry Gray. Klaus Heinlein was in there with Kemberg. Advantage rule is called. Heinlein can control it. He still does. Goosens with Parsons on him. Knocks it in the box. Ungaro goes up for it. So does Grobillard. Ungaro did a fine job of getting his head on it, but couldn't quite get the angle. And preparing to talk to our player of the game, which should be happening in about 3 minutes from now. That's how many minutes are left in this half. We have Jeff Cross, our color commentator, who has meandered and struggled. And have you two-stepped it all the way down these fine stairs here, Jeff, at Commonwealth Stadium, to give us a little insight from field level?
We did a 2-step and a 3-step and found ourselves in the middle of the cheerleaders just a couple of seconds ago, which is not bad, John. It's not bad. But the thing I noticed, particularly walking down to field level, is the ferocity with which this game is being played. That some of the tackles are really very fierce, and I think if it was to go any longer, like into overtime or anything like that, I think the referee Evangelista might have himself a little bit of trouble. But the last couple of seconds now, it does seem to have settled down, and with just over 2 minutes left, I think that I would suspect that the Drillers have more or less conceded this game to Vancouver.
Well, we're exactly at 2 minutes left now. Steve Kember's shot goes high over the crossbar, and I admire your restraint with a dozen young ladies who are called the Image of Edmonton. That's the name of the cheerleaders here. With a dozen of them right behind you, Jeff Cross. I'm amazed at your restraint for not taking your eyes off the match.
I'm an old married man, John.
Well, that's 2 for 2. Throwing right in front of you there, Jeff. David Robb set to take it.
Tried to do his little fiddle again there by pinching 10 yards.
Ray Hankin. Lodovegas marking him there. Very methodically taking your time by the Whitecaps. Robb can't break through. And Nogley on the return attack now, trying to get it going. 1 minute and 23 and counting. The Whitecaps lead it 4-2. Drew Ferguson has it knocked into touch by David Robb.
Maybe be a new position for Robb. He's playing left side of midfield now. Of course, he's normally a front man. Scored a lot of goals last year playing in Philadelphia. Playing midfield, and he's tackling very well, very crisply.
Well, he was put in midfield in a starting role here as we've got another Drillers chance. Eddie Kirshner once again John Goosen gets the shot away, but it's over the goal line as we just passed the 1-minute mark.
Just took far too long, John.
Fine play. Who's down in the field over there?
Drillers took far too long on that play.
I thought Kirshner perhaps should have shot. It looked like he had the space.
I think so.
Well, it's Kenyon. It's Roger Kenyon. This is Parsons. As Eddie Kirshner, instead of shooting right there, with Kenyon coming back, he chooses to drop it to John Goosen, and this is perhaps where Kenyon gets hurt. Looks like he got the brunt of the kick from John Goosen's inadvertently. He got the shot away, but caught the back of Kenyon's right heel. And that's why he's limping with 20 seconds remaining in the play.
He is limping quite noticeably just at the edge of the box, and fortunately for Vancouver, there's only a few seconds left.
10 seconds and counting as Purdy Alaya. The fans vacate the stadium. They've seen a fine match here today. Unfortunately for them, it'll be the 4th home loss for the Edmonton Drillers this year, whereas the Whitecaps record will go to 9-8. And referee Tony Evangelista agrees with the score clock. The time has expired. The two teams, after playing 180 minutes of soccer in the last 4 days, shake hands after a very physical match. Both today and Wednesday in Vancouver show their sportsmanship by shaking hands after 180 minutes of very, very physical and certainly entertaining soccer in these 90 minutes today. Teams leave the field. The 12,510 fans vacate Commonwealth Stadium. We've had the good blessing of the weatherman today. As you see, Bruce Grobelar there hugging Klaus Heinlein. I don't know if their paths have crossed prior to the NASL, but certainly there's no animosity shown between those two athletes. The Whitecaps player of the game is standing by with Mr. Jeffrey Cross, the old married man, sir.
Thank you very much, John. And Carl Valentine. Really, there wasn't an awful lot of choice when we were going to pick the player of the game today. 3 goals and an assist in a 4-goal effort is not bad. Is that the first time you've done that for quite a while?
Well, that's the first time I've ever scored an hat-trick in, my professional career, and I'm very pleased. I've played a couple of games up front so far, and the goals have eluded me. And I thought, I'd get the first one in, then it might start flowing, and they did today.
Yeah. How about that last goal?